Live from deep in an underground bunker in East Tennessee, this is America's premier mortgage fuel services expert, Paul Williams.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome back to another edition of Foreclosurepedia Podcast. Foreclosurepedia Podcast, presentation of the Foreclosurepedia Radio Network, which premieres each weekend. You know, it's Memorial Day weekend. The date is the 26th of May, 2017. The time, 2000 hours Eastern Daylight Time. You know, in light of the recent battle ongoing with Net Neutrality, we thought we'd revisit a suggestion to the Foreclosurepedia Nation. Now, for years, Foreclosurepedia has advocated for nonviolent civil disobedience. In fact, when Foreclosurepedia was in its early years, Eric Miller, the executive director of the National Association of Mortgage Field Services regime, attempted to threaten and intimidate Foreclosurepedia by hiring a lawyer calculated to have a chilling effect upon free speech. And yes, he lost. He lost as the now former and disgraced NAMFS Secretary Heather Berghorst attempted to hire a lawyer and threaten and intimidate Foreclosurepedia, and she lost. Foreclosurepedia has always recommended that when misclassified employee contractors have their monies fraudulently stolen from them by NAMFS offender members, that they make their voices heard to the owners of those financial terrorist organizations. We've always recommended that first a file be compiled on the owner and the company. We've always recommended that pickets be organized at the owner's home, at the owner and family members' places of business, that protests happen on the church steps of where the owner and his or her family attend church, and that their faces be plastered all over telephone poles documenting their treatment of minority females and labor. Eric Miller, the executive director of the NAMFS regime, whom is paid over $122,240 per year, consuming over 75% of all NAMFS member dues, apparently doesn't like that. Nor did he back then, and figured then he would threaten and intimidate me with a freshman guild lawyer. Well, as most things that attack Foreclosurepedia, miserably failed. I want to talk to you all just a little bit this evening about a 2014 protest. You see, in 2014, then FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler ended up having some people sit in his driveway. Washington Post actually wrote all about it. In fact, protesting and demonstrating have always been a legal right of U.S. citizens since, the founding of the United States. Moreover, ladies and gentlemen, it's always been part of the fabric that makes us whom we are. You know, in many countries today, even the concept of protest is illegal. And it is that upon which the NAMFS offender members hope to always drive home to you, that you have no rights. And you see, apparently Eric Miller slept through these very ingrained civil rights of ours while he was attending his Civics 101 class. Either that, or he's literally such an ignorant fucking douchebag that he doesn't understand what fucking English is. I don't know. Ask him. It's not surprising, though, as Eric Miller and his all-white NAMFS board of directors, they always appear to be hell-bent upon violating and conspiring to violate the civil rights of minority females and labor. You know, Foreclosurepedia actually reported upon this. We actually discussed the do not use list operated by Altisource and overseen in part by Patricia E. McTaggart, who resides in Atlanta, Georgia. You know, when the Washington Post covered, and there's a great picture in the article, and if you go to the website, we have the article. There's actually a great picture of 3 females sitting in front of the Mini Cooper. It truly is. It's a Mini Cooper vehicle. Mr. Wheeler, he's, my God, got to be 6'2", 6'4". He drives it, whatever reason. But as opposed to Eric Miller and his all-white NAMFS board of directors, Mr. Wheeler took it in stride. Why? Because this is America. This is not Nazi Germany run by all-white, fat-bellied pig rednecks sitting in lazy boy recliners screaming, "Fix me a turkey pot pie, bitch." No, this is the United States. This is the melting pot. This is where the Lady of Liberty shakes her fist at people like Eric Miller. While Wheeler may not have liked to have his driveway initially blocked while the civil protest waged by an outfit called Proper Resistance may not have been appreciated, the drive-by media covered it relentlessly. And apparently the point was driven home because under the Obama administration, net neutrality remained in place. Under the Trump administration, though, the stakes have been raised by both sides. This publication called The Verge that reported upon the latest political actions being taken in recent days. I'm going to quote from their article. Federal Communications Commission Chairman Ajit Pai, and I'm probably butchering the name, but fuck him anyway, unveiled his plans to reverse net neutrality last month, and the proposal is expected to face an initial vote on May 18th. That vote came down the pike, and they obviously, because they are, pro-Trumpians, got rid of net neutrality, at least so far. There's a few creative points, though, that we can take from this. Now, Lee Camp, who's on RTTV, he runs a show called Redacted Tonight. He published a picture of door hangers. And I want to set the stage for you. So what you have is a picture of this Ajit Pai. On the top of the door hanger, it says, "Have you seen this man?" His name is Ajit Pai, age 44, height 6'1", weight 200 pounds. Underneath that, he is a former Verizon lawyer, and now he runs the FCC, where he is trying to destroy net neutrality by giving cable companies the power to control content on the internet. If you want to keep the internet open with equal access for all, then visit www.protectourinternet.org. Direct action, ladies and gentlemen, gets the goods. Let's make no mistake about that. And it's lawful. And it opens the doors to that which I proposed several years ago as Eric Miller and his NAMFS offender members began laying siege to minority females in labor. It opens up a new avenue for op-NAMFS. And this is something that the financial terrorists need to begin to understand. The next knock-knock at the door may not be the Amazon package a NAMFS offender member has ordered for their mistress. And I want that to really, really sink in for a moment. It could be one of these door hangers being hung. It is the legal right of any U.S. citizen to protest and demonstrate within the confines of the First Amendment and the laws of the communities wherein they do such. I want you to picture a NAMFS offender member waking up or, hell, returning home and finding their entire neighborhood plastered with door hangers. Door hangers like I just described, and that's in the article on Foreclosurepedia right now. I like to think that the normal coffee table photo albums which occupy the banner at these trivial dinner parties would be replaced by animated discussions of those concerned neighbors who wonder precisely whom occupies the house in their neighborhood. And why stop simply with the neighborhood wherein the NAMFS offender member lives? How about the neighborhood businesses where the NAMFS offender member shops? I mean, do not retailers have the right to know whom this person is and precisely what they're up to? I mean, we're not getting all John Walsh about it. However, an informed neighborhood is a safe neighborhood. Is that not what we all want for our children? Good, quality, safe neighborhoods? If the NAMFS offender member has a business, say in a strip mall or a business park with multiple suites, after verifying that both the posting of notices and solicitation is legal, why not also expand the area of operations? Or, better yet, how about a couple of bake sale fundraisers to raise funds to take out a good old-fashioned newspaper ad? Hell, pharmaceutical companies and politicians do it all the time. You see, Eric Miller and his all-white NAMFS board of directors have convinced minority females in labor that they are powerless. The misbelief that the white American redneck male, lounging supinely in his lazy boy chair with a remote control, screaming for another beer, and they control everything, is a myth. Minority females in labor do not exist to provide a means of revenue for firms such as Altisource, Interocean Enterprises. I mean, I'm sorry, Amos, now, but it's true. And when the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development so cavalierly refused to properly investigate those they are so willing to hand out hundreds of millions of dollars in awards to, I submit it is the patriotic duty of every American to rise up and take to the streets. In fact, it would be downright un-American not to do such. Moreover, it is the moral responsibility of all minority females in labor to rise up and join together with those whom NAMFS offender members have so brutally violated. Look, do we turn our backs upon women whom are brutally attacked by their oft-times white, redneck, significant others? No. Do we turn our backs upon the minority females whom white aristocracy has so brutally committed racial discrimination upon? Hell no! And so I ask you, why would the Foreclosurepedia Nation turn its back upon minority females in labor whom are daily exposed to the vitriol and the financial terrorism exhibited by NAMFS offender members? You know, Foreclosurepedia has reached its 10,000th subscriber earlier this month. We celebrated by giving a year's industry insider membership to all those whom are currently subscribed with us at that level. The Foreclosurepedia Nation is now 10,000 strong. It is truly humbling. And while none of us agree on everything, all of us agree that racially motivated financial terrorism has no place in a civil society. I submit this to you on the eve of the Memorial Day weekend, when the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces, some gave all and everybody gave some. If you're out there this weekend and you see somebody in the armed forces and they're in uniform, why not take the time to go over and shake their hand? Thank them. It's a thankless job, ladies and gentlemen. Most, if not all, of our service members, and I was a service member, I was in the United States Navy, we joined because we had a belief. We had a belief in a good, honest, and just United States of America. Thank them for their service and show your patriotism by beginning to organize against the scourge of the National Association of Mortgage Field Services regime. Ladies and gentlemen, I salute you in the Foreclosurepedia Nation tonight. I salute our armed forces. And may God bless America. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. As usual, you may reach me on Google Plus at D. Paul Williams, LinkedIn, Paul Williams, and the LinkedIn group Property Preservation Consortium, Twitter, Foreclosurepedia. We stream all our podcasts on iTunes, Foreclosurepedia. We have our screencasts over on YouTube, the Foreclosurepedia channel, and always at foreclosurepedia.org. We'd like to give a special shout out to Amazon.com, whom provides our S3 podcast and video storage, and Cloudflare for hosting Foreclosurepedia in 24 different geo-positioned servers, pro bono as well. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to give me a shout out, COO at foreclosurepedia.org.